This is MeshCast, where we separate verified evidence from hype. Today, a topic that promises the biggest prize there is, living longer. The blue zones. 5 places on Earth where people supposedly live ridiculously long, healthy lives. Okinawa, Sardinia, Ikaria, Nicoya, and Loma Linda. It's a best-selling book, a Netflix series, and a worldwide wellness brand. But is it real? Or is the whole thing a beautifully packaged marketing story? As it turns out, it's a lot more complicated than either side wants you to believe. Let's dig in. Here's the pitch. Explorer and journalist Dan Buettner worked with demographers to identify 5 places with extraordinary longevity, and then reverse engineered their habits into a list called the Power 9. Plant-based diet, natural movement, purpose, strong social ties, moderate red wine. It became a massive brand, and eventually a paid program where cities and communities pay to become certified blue zones. But before we accept any of it, we need to answer one uncomfortable question. Is the underlying data even real? That's where the controversy starts. Saul Newman, a researcher at University College London, analyzed mortality data from 236 jurisdictions. His conclusion was blunt. The biggest secret of the blue zones, he says, is that they don't exist. He argues the apparent longevity is a byproduct of bad records, clerical errors, and pension fraud. And he's not wrong that this happens. In 2010, Japan did proof-of-life checks and found a huge number of registered centenarians who could not be found, some collecting pensions for decades. So the mechanism is real. The question is whether it applies to the blue zones. The demographers pushed back hard. A group of career researchers, including the American Federation for Aging Research, published a peer-reviewed rebuttal in the journal The Gerontologist. Their argument? The blue zone ages were validated using civil registries, church archives, and genealogical records going back over a century, and cases that couldn't be confirmed were thrown out. They say Newman, who is a plant biologist, not a demographer, misuses data and compares the wrong regions. And that rebuttal is credible. But here's the catch. Newman's paper was never peer-reviewed, and the rebuttal comes partly from people tied to the blue zone's business. So both sides have credibility problems. Now the part that's genuinely damning. One of the 5 zones is Loma Linda, California, a Seventh-day Adventist community. The problem is, Loma Linda was added to the list to please an editor. Science and the New York Times both reported that Buettner's National Geographic editor told him, "You need to find America's blue zone." And the demographer who actually coined the term blue zone, Michel Poulain, never accepted Loma Linda. He called it a religious community, not a validated longevity hotspot. So one of your 5 zones was added for editorial reasons, and the guy who named the concept doesn't believe in it. And it gets worse from a trust perspective. In 2020, the Blue Zones brand was bought by Adventist Health, a health system affiliated with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's the same church at the center of Loma Linda. The church promotes vegetarianism, so the company selling you plant-based Blue Zones diets is owned by a church-affiliated health system that has a stake in that message. That's a real conflict of interest, and it's one of the most checkable facts in this whole story. Let's talk about the actual advice, because some of it holds up and some of it doesn't. A mostly whole food, plant-based diet, natural movement, purpose, community, these are genuinely good, evidence-backed habits. But the way the blue zones present them is selective. The famous Okinawan diet is pushed as plant-based, but critics say the pork and fish Okinawans actually ate were quietly downplayed. And the red wine thing? Modern science is clear. No amount of alcohol is beneficial. That part of the Power 9 does not survive contact with the data. Here's a useful frame for the whole debate. When it comes to extreme ages, verified records are vanishingly rare. The oldest verified human ever, Jeanne Calment of France, died at 122. Her age has been challenged and repeatedly upheld, but she is essentially alone at that age. Supercentenarian claims are everywhere. Verified ones are almost non-existent. That's the exact record-keeping problem at the heart of the blue zone debate. And it's why the difference between a claim and a verified record matters so much. So here's the honest, balanced bottom line. The 4 original blue zones, Sardinia, Okinawa, Ikaria, and Nicoya, rest on real demographic work, and the ages were genuinely cross-checked. That's real. But the data is contested. One zone was added for editorial and commercial reasons. The brand is owned by a church-affiliated health system, and some of the Power 9 advice, like the wine, is just wrong. The healthy habits they promote are real. The scientific proof behind the 5 specific miracle places is oversold. So, the takeaway. You don't need a $2,000 retreat or a certified blue zone city to live well. Eat mostly whole foods, move every day, find purpose, stay connected, and be skeptical of anyone selling you a miracle. That's the real secret. If this breakdown was useful, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next MeshCast. Stay sharp and live well. Not financial or, in this case, medical advice. This was a fact check for fun.